friend of mine hollered at me this morning and said, hey, Johnny, have you seen how BlackRock might be coming into Hawaii and using this as an opportunity to take over the housing? And I'm like, I think they might have created the opportunity the same way that they've created all those opportunities in the neighborhoods that BLM burned to the ground. And this individual said, but why? And so we had a great conversation. I had something else I want to talk about today, but let me walk you through the conversation that I had. I want to see what you think. And then number two, how do we respond to this? That's going to be the question, is how do we respond to the idea that evil is among us? I'll tell you what I think, then you can tell me what you think right down below. You've already seen it. Today's episode is brought to you by this one, the watch list. Last time, 2 weeks ago, it was in stock for all of about 3 hours. Back in stock this morning. I'm not supposed to show it to you until tomorrow, but I follow no man's rules. If you're not on a watch list, you're not doing your job. Small through 6XL right down there. All right. So we talk about the idea of BlackRock and what they're doing and coming in, and this person said, hey, why? And I said, well, there's a bifurcation, but let me get you to that point. Imagine all of American humanity, all of us in a big swirling mass. That's how it works in my brain, like the electron cloud. At least all of the productive people, y'all are conservatives, y'all are productive. Everyone that's contributing to the economy, this massive 300 million people that are making stuff happen. So you got all of this, all the money, all the wealth, all the economics zipping and zapping back and forth, the transference of cash, the transference of goods and services. I love it. I am a capitalist. Companies, small and big, will step up to that mass and they will cast in a fishing line and try to hook people. I love capitalism. It's fantastic. This one right down below. I've got a new company coming into this channel, and they're going to try to cast a net into y'all, or cast a fishing hook into y'all, a smaller mass, but a pretty good looking mass. Y'all are doing great. Love y'all. And the reason they do it with y'all is they know that y'all are 95% male, 95% in America. It's the right demographics. And so smaller companies will do the best they can. If you have a makeup company, you're going to go to makeup influencers and cast into their net. It's fantastic. Larger companies like Amazon, they are getting on your phones and they're listening, and then they're dialing in those demographics even more specific. Amazon is not a book company. It's not a product company. It is a data company, and they are constantly trying to fine-tune and to be able to cast a larger and a more accurate net in. I get it, 100%. Corporations cast in big and small to generate cash, to move products, and to move services. We all get that. That's fine. There's problems with that. I get it. There's corporations that don't pay taxes. I get it. But the overall idea of capitalism, big thumbs up for me. Then we move into big evil. Big evil. We went from small corporations, big corporations. We move to big evil. That's what I call big evil. They look at this massive millions and millions of people. The seas of humanity, the seas of commerce, the seas of economics, the seas of wealth, the oceans that are teeming with the lifeblood of American labor and the lifeblood of American ingenuity in this great place that we and our forefathers have built. And they look at that and they say, how can we harness all of it at once? How can we force all of this energy to move in the same direction at once? And it's not their choice. How do they do it? Through the federal government. I'm not going into it today for the sake of time, but there's essentially four corporations, not essentially, there are four corporations that control this company. Each of the heads of those have more power than Sniffy Joe. On some level, that's probably a good thing. But on other levels, we just walk blindly through like NPCs going, okay, tell me what to do next. They get on this entire machine, and they use Congress and the Senate to force things and make everybody do the same thing. 15 years ago, remember we had to get those curly light bulbs? The light bulbs were made in one place. China, we were forced to all adapt. That one has since changed, but there is 1,000 other things where they force it through. Smaller ones, little light bulbs. 10 years ago, you go to Lowe's or go to Home Depot to buy a gas can, and now you got that crappy crappy lid on the gas. Why? Because Congress said we have to do it. You get in your car and you pull up to a stoplight, it shuts off. Why? Congress and all of those nonsense laws, and they've gotten bigger and bigger, and it's now, and I really believe this. I believe the big one was the jab. They forced everything to shut down. They forced mom and pops to shut down. Their buddies on the boards, their friends, their families, their sons and their daughters that are on the boards and that are lobbyists all cashed in, and everyone had to comply or else. And here's the big one. Big evil doesn't just use the government. And Congress does what they are freaking told. They all do. They march in lockstep with each other. They know going into a vote what it's going to be. There are no surprises. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The one right before the jab was this push and forcing it down our throats of electric vehicles. They're coming. We do not have the infrastructure to be able to plug cars in. California had to shut off air conditions this year, and they're only like at a small percentage of EV. Imagine if we move to like 80%. We will shut down. The grid cannot handle it yet. They're making the cash. Follow the money. Follow the power. There's more coming. There is big evil like Gates looking at this and saying, how can I force everyone to eat bugs? Well, that push has been going on for about 20 years now. We're just starting to see some of the seeds come up on it. It's coming, and that's big evil. I wrote down, the jab, the EV cars, and Congress doing what they're told. And it's not just Congress, it's also the media does what they're told. The media they are corporations, and they are the voice box. And then also all of the talk shows are on the payroll, and America just watches the TV and does what we're told. Now, it bifurcates from there. Some of big evil are doing it for the money and the power. I think probably Jeff Bezos and Amazon, they're doing it for the money, the power, and the control. Margaret Thatcher said the easiest way to one global world, for the globalists to do what they're trying to do, is through the scam of climate change. She didn't use the word scam, I did, but she said climate change is the way and the methodology. She said it was the easiest way to globalism. Why do they want globalism? So they can harness everybody, and move in one direction like they're told. But it bifurcates. We've got corporations, big evil corporations, the big four, Bill Gates, but then, and I don't think he's on the other end. Then we have the George Soroses and Soroses' son. They're not doing it just for power and money. They're doing it because they hate freedom, they are communists, and they are willfully and mindfully and with a plan tearing down America. So this friend of mine that stopped me this morning and said, hey, why would BlackRock do that? Why would Oprah already have fire prevention on standby at her house before this hit? And I said, well, power and money. And I mentioned a name that this person had never heard of. I said, George Soros. And they said, well, why would somebody from overseas come in here? I said, to tear down Western civilization. I find that to be a 10,000-foot view of where we're at. Oversimplification, and there's a lot of nuances I know y'all are already typing about. Here's the question. Now, what do we do? My opinion, what do we do? It's my question for you. How do we respond to this? If we get to the point where we can look and go, you know what, we are being bleeping manipulated, and that our Congress is bought and paid for, all of them. There is no fresh blood. Yeah, I like Thomas Massey a lot. I really do. I think he's cool. I really do. I like him. That's one dude. That's one dude. How do we respond? My answer is either or maybe both. Either you get chickens and cows and pay for your own property and learn to prepare for the downfall of the dollar, or you use the system. You use a tool like YouTube to talk to y'all. You find the system and work the system, and you make it work for you, but for good. Or maybe both. That's where I'm at. Happy Thursday to each of y'all. I'll be back tomorrow on Spicy Friday. Hey, I'm Johnny B reminding you, USA is pretty freaking awesome. Go America, and it's okay to love your country.
Diabetes.